morning, everybody. Welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to make collard greens with liquid smoke. All right, here it is right here. Here's our liquid smoke. And this is the essence that gives food a smoky flavor. All right, so that'll be delicious. And then we don't need to use any pork in our product. A lot of people like to cook their collard greens with some bacon bits, but we're going to make this vegetarian. So we're using vegetable broth today, and we have our olive oil, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. We're going to be doing now this is a giant onion. We're just going to do probably half of that. So we're going to chop that up, 1 onion, our kosher salt, red pepper flakes, our liquid smoke, 2 pounds of collard greens. Now, these are pretty big. I'm not sure if that's 2 pounds though. I don't really like the woody stems, so I am removing the stems. This might not be completely 2 pounds. And then at the end, we're gonna dash it with a ½ teaspoon of Texas Pete hot sauce. Absolutely delicious. All right, so I'm gonna get these ready. We've gotta remove the ribs here, and then I'm gonna roll it up and chop this up. This is pretty thick, so you do wanna cut it. And we'll get that done, and I'll show you how to take care of that first. All right, so here's our collard green. Now, I'm not a fan of the stalks because they really are very, very hard and woody, so I don't like them. Some people do leave them in and will cook them. I prefer to take them out. I will save them though. I'm gonna save them and freeze them and make vegetable stock with them. So that's always a good thing to remember. So if you don't like it, remove them. If you do, leave them in and cut them up. But this is how I'm preparing the leaves for our batch. Right down the middle, slicing all the way through. And then laying it right on top of each other. I'm gonna slice strips. All right, and then now I have these strips sliced, and then I'm just gonna slice 2-inch long pieces. I've already got everything else sliced right here, and I'm gonna get that in. Now, the first thing we do though is we wanna saute our onions. So I've got our onions here. We have this nice large saucepan. Here is our olive oil, and I'm gonna get this on, warm up the pan. I'm gonna put it on medium-high heat to start with. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. All right, so that's our olive oil. Coating the bottom of our pan and heating it up, and let's add in our onions. We should get a nice sizzle. There we go. Okay, we're going to add all of those. I'm going to stir with our wooden spoon. And we want to cook these until they are translucent and tender. So that's going to take a while. So I'll come back in about a minute. While that's cooking, I'm going to start cleaning up my workspace. So I always save these bags from the grocery store because here I'm going to put all of our greens in here. And then I'm also going to add, these are the ends of our onions. And these I'm going to freeze and save for our stock. So I always save these bags to reuse. We want to recycle as much as we can. And then I'm storing the collard green roots or stems and our onion ends to make a vegetable or a chicken stock out of for another time. All right, so our onions have been sauteing on medium-low heat. So that's why they don't really have any dark color on it. We don't want the color today. I'm not going for caramelized onions. We just want to cook them until they're tender, translucent. All right, and now we're gonna add in our vegetable broth. So we have our 2 cups of vegetable broth. I'm gonna add this into our pot. Now I can raise the temperature a bit, all right, because we wanna bring that to a boil. And we're gonna cook our collard greens in this liquid, okay? But before we add those, we gotta add in our seasoning. So I need a half teaspoon of our red pepper flakes. In they go. And we need a half teaspoon of our kosher salt. And I forgot to open it, so we need a half teaspoon of our liquid smoke. Let's do that. And this is what smells like smoke, and is a great substitute for bacon, because if you smell it, it smells like bacon. There we go. And that will give it that flavor, since we're making a vegetarian collard green. Okay, now this is a 1/4 teaspoon measure, so I'm going to do this twice because we want a half teaspoon of kosher salt. Voila. Voila. There we go. You really want to get all of that seasoned. Now, I haven't made this in a while, so let me just double check. Do I bring it to a boil and then add the collard greens, or can I just add the collard greens? All right, they're gonna have to simmer for 1 to 1.5 hours, all right? So I might need to add more vegetable broth, but let's put this on high so it comes up to, I'm gonna bring it to a boil and then I'm gonna add the collard greens, okay? So while that's happening, I can put away our ingredients. Remember, always clean as you go, so that way you don't have a giant mess when you're finished. So this goes on top of our refrigerator right here, so you guys don't forget where everything is in the kitchen. And then this seasonings will go up in our cupboard right there. All right, so you can see it has come to a boil around the edges, so I'm gonna lower it because we wanna simmer the collard greens. We don't want it to all boil away, otherwise we'll have no liquid left to cook our greens in. And I'm gonna add in our collard greens. Yay! All right, so this is gonna cook for an hour to 1.5 hours until this all is nice and tender. And I'll stir it every so often, and if I need to, I will add more vegetable broth if I have to, okay? So now, look how beautiful bright green it is. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't stay this bright. In order to get it cooked thoroughly, it does change color and get a little grayish brownish, but it's pretty to look at right now. And it becomes bright green. And in they go. So we're gonna stir it every so often, and we're gonna have to set the timer for an hour, check it, and then see if we need to do it more. But actually, I'm gonna set the timer for 30 minutes, not an hour, because if I want to add more vegetable broth, I need to keep an eye on it better than setting a timer for 1 hour and walking away from it. All right, so I'm gonna keep that simmering. There we go. All right. I'll come back and show you what it looks like in a half hour. All right, so this has been simmering for a half hour, and you can see it's beginning to come that sort of brownish, grayish green. No longer that vibrant, bright green it was, but it's still gonna have to take, it still has a lot of liquid, so I don't need to add more, but this is gonna continue for another half hour. All right, here we are. They have been cooking now for 1 hour. They're all wilted, this sort of brown gray green now. And you can see a lot of the liquid has disappeared. All right, now the liquid that is left, that's called the pot liquor. You don't want to get rid of that. Some people love it and will drink it on its own, or you can use it as the base for any of your vegetable stocks. So how are we going to tell if this is done? Well, I'm going to taste a piece and see if it's tender enough to eat. So this is pretty hot. Oh, it's really good. It's really good, and it's very tender. I think I can stop. I don't want to make it mush. It's really not that firm. hard texture that you get normally with collard greens, so I think I'm done. I better turn this off. Okay, so there they are, nice and done. Those red pepper flakes have already given it quite a big kick. So we're gonna finish it off though with our half teaspoon of Texas Pete hot sauce. So now, depending on how much heat you can stand, it's up to you to add more if you want. Or if you're not a fan of spice, hot sauce, this stuff, don't add it, because the red pepper really does already give it a kick. So that's only a half teaspoon. This stuff must be very strong. So I'm gonna stir all that in and then serve it. Looks gorgeous. Here we have our finished collard greens, and they're absolutely delicious. They've got a little bit of kick and they taste great. And since we use that liquid smoke, it's got a great bacony flavor to it. So again, it was 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 onion diced, 2 cups of vegetable broth, and I did not need to add any more. A half teaspoon of kosher salt, a half teaspoon of red pepper flakes, a half teaspoon of liquid smoke, 2 pounds of collard greens where I removed the ribs or the stems, and a half teaspoon of Texas Pete hot sauce. Absolutely delicious. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll try making this recipe at home. Okay, take care everybody. Bye-bye.